Thanks for joining us once again for your weekly update from the city of New Hope, and a special guest joining us today, Councilmember John Elder, with us to give us the update as the mayor is out. Welcome, John. How are you today?
I'm fabulous. Thank you for having me on, Dave.
You're welcome. Thanks for taking some time. We've got a lot to touch on in the city, and let's get right to it. As we normally do, we start in community development, a lot of pieces of community development, and one is the Rave Awards. John, help us again understand what the Rave Awards is and how people can get involved.
You bet. The Rave Award is a program that recognizes efforts of residential property owners who contribute time and resources to maintaining or improving our residential properties in our city.
And we've got some deadlines coming up here. I understand it's the end of July, and this is a nomination process. So as I understand it, I could nominate myself if I lived in New Hope, or I certainly want to keep an eye on my neighbors and maybe nominate them. Is that correct, how that process works?
Absolutely is. The deadline is July 26th. And if you have a neighbor that, really takes extra time and maybe has done a interesting landscaping project, something that, really improves residential properties, we'd love to hear about it. And we have a group of people that go out and tour all of the nominations sites, and they come up with the winners. They present it to the city council, and those individuals receive, I think they're going to continue on with the engraved rocks for display for the homeowner. It's a fun contest, and people have a lot of fun doing it. But really, some of the things that people have said previously who have won said, I didn't do this for an award. I just want to beautify, and that's really the spirit of the contest.
For more information about that contest and other things we talk about today, go to the city's website. You see it at the bottom of the screen, newhopemn.gov. Information there as well about the curbside appeal program. So kind of goes hand in hand here, but a different program. And I understand you've added another person to that list. Again, explain that and tell us about the newest entry.
You bet. We have a program where the city will reimburse somebody up to 25% of their project costs for doing something to make their house more appealing from the curb. Mm-hmm. And we just got our 30th applicant this last week, and they are replacing their garage door, which was an old block style garage door, to a new garage door with windows. And there are a lot of things that go with it. You can't just replace your garage door with just another garage door. You have to do something that upgrades it, like windows. I was one of the 30 people that put in for it. I redid my garage door, my front door, and I wanted to put in a flagpole, but the flagpole didn't. It wasn't covered under the program yet.
Got it.
So, but it's a great way to keep our housing stock up and really help people finance or pay for pride in their home.
Great program. And again, more information available on the city's website about that. We wanted to talk for a second in community development about a development that happened. It's already been a couple of years ago. Windsor Ridge is the name of that development. And you had a little update on some activity there.
Yeah, Windsor Ridge was completed in 2022. And the homes then were selling for $430,000. Now that's a big step up from a lot of our housing in New Hope. And one of the things that we've been doing with the scattered site housing, which we'll talk about, is to upgrade, update, and refresh our housing stock in New Hope. And whereas homes in this Windsor Ridge were selling for $430,000, one of the homes just sold for $555,000. Mm-hmm. And we had another one go for $500,000. So it's allowing people to stay in New Hope and get into more luxury housing. Mm-hmm. And that's something New Hope had some of, but not enough of. And so when people are selling their home in New Hope, say a $300,000 home, and they move into the $500,000 or $550,000 home, they now have another home in New Hope that's for sale, and we can bring people into the community.
Mhm. Great program and some amazing developments in that area. Scattered site, you mentioned it. We've got a lot to talk about here. First property is 3840 Oregon. I mean, again, a very unique property here that happens to be a home that is very close to, in fact, in the area of a park. And the city has been discussing this. Update us on those discussions.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. This is a home that is actually in the park. It is right on the outer border of the park, and when you look at the streets, it's actually would be part of the park.
Mhm.
And in 1970, we had the opportunity to purchase this home, and the city opted not to at that time. As we look to control what we do in our parks, how they look, what amenities we can bring, having this extra space was important to the council and to Park and Rec. And the council voted to actually purchase this home at this time as it came onto the market. And we are going to buy the home and we are going to turn that into green space.
Mhm.
And we can look at what amenities best serve those residents in that area. Is there something that they want? We're finding pickleball courts are a huge thing.
Right.
And we've transitioned a number of our tennis courts into pickleball courts while still keeping some tennis courts in the city. And this was a controversial one, but one that the majority of the council agreed that the green space is important, and being able to offer people the amenities that they want, we decided to do that.
More to come on that as that property moves along. Other properties we're keeping an eye on, 42nd and Boone, the two homes there that are coming along and looks like pretty close to finished.
Yeah. The one at 4201 Boone, right now they're just doing irrigation, sod, and trees, and that home should be certified for occupancy here in the very near future. And that's exciting. First of all, getting that home onto our tax rolls, as that had been a tax exempt property previously,
Right.
and being able to bring in additional families into the area. We're excited about that as well.
Next property under scatter site to talk about is 4220 Nevada. And this is one property now, but it sounds like it's going to be split up into a couple.
Yep. The properties that people have a lot of times were split up by farming. And we have a number of our lots in the town that have older homes on them and very large lots. So what the city scattered site housing program has been doing is we have been purchasing these as they come up, and we're splitting them into regular size neighborhood lots.
Mhm.
And so instead of now having one home there, we'll have two, again, on regular size lots, and we're bringing in additional tax revenue because you have two homes there and not one. And again, being a landlocked city and a city that is uh, really fully developed, using these opportunities to offer more housing and higher tier housing certainly is beneficial for the city and the residents.
Final couple properties to talk about. Another one that was one of these lot splits, 7901 and 7911 50th. And this shows how successful the program is because we've just talked about this recently, but I understand someone already wants one of those homes, correct? Before it's even there.
Yeah, so many of our scattered site homes are sold before the sheetrock is even on the walls. We have a purchase agreement for one of the two homes that's going on to that property. Again, it's a lot split, and so we'll be able to have two very nice homes on one property, giving them ample room. and again, make more room for additional residents.
Let's hop ahead to Public Works and talk about some of the things happening here. And you just wanted to kind of give an overview statement about this fine group. They do a lot of work that people don't see, but it means a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, you don't see a lot of what Public Works does, but you're going to see it if they don't do it. And so this is an incredible group of staff that, that are taking care of things that people want. The drinking fountain at Northwood Park East um, just stopped working. And it's amazing the amount of phone calls I got on something like that,
Mhm.
and contacted Public Works. They were aware of it. They were waiting for a part. They went in, reinstalled it. Works great. Again, it's a park for the people, so
Mhm.
we want it to be working. Things like fertilizing and irrigating our athletic fields, taking care of patchwork on roads. These roads take a beating. Installing signs. Um, you know, they do so much in this city that people don't know, but again, you would know it if they didn't. So really a hats off to our public works team.
And they've been working out in some extreme heat here over the past couple days too. So these projects got done with that warm weather. One of the road projects to mention here and highlight a little bit further is Louisiana. We've been talking about this with the mayor. You have a little update here, and things have gone a little more difficult maybe than first thought.
Yeah, well, when you're dealing with aging infrastructure, it needs to be expected. And
Mhm.
they build in funding on every one of our projects for incidentals and contingencies. And as they were redoing the roadway, they came across two water gate valves that were sticking and couldn't be repaired. They tried and tried, and they just realized that now they have to actually replace them. They did replace them, and they're working with the really, really wet soil,
Yeah.
bringing in additional fill and materials to help dry that out. And we'll be moving ahead with paving here in the near future.
Let's move ahead to Park and Rec. A lot of fun things happening here as the summer rolls along, and one that a lot of people wait for is the Off-Broadway musical theater. What is the performance this year, and where should we get our chair positioned quickly here?
Well, it starts this week. It's the musical presentation of Bye Bye Birdie. It starts on Wednesday of this week, starting at 8 p.m. They do suggest a $5 donation, but that's wholly a suggestion. And they also will be collecting food for our area Prism and Near.
Mhm.
And so people want to bring canned goods too. That's fabulous. It will serve people well.
And that's at the beautiful entertainment facility right there in the Central Park area by City Hall. And we're going to
Yes.
talk a little bit more about that area in just a second here. Let's talk about classes through Park and Rec coming up right now. And one of the neat things that makes a lot of these classes go is partnerships. How does that work in Park and Rec?
Well, they have new classes starting this week. They're doing a class in conjunction with Three Rivers called Little Explorer Camp. There's dance classes, which is outrageously
Mhm.
successful in New Hope, and there are horseback riding lessons. Now, there may be 8 children in New Hope that would want to take a horseback riding class. And we realized that we can't put on a class just for 8 children. So we work with our surrounding park and recs. And, there may be 8 children in New Hope, 7 children in Crystal, 11 children in Golden Valley. And they all work together to put on this class so that they can get a class that is fiscally responsible to put on, as well as really enjoyable for the kids. And the networking, the kids love spending time with other kids that they don't know, they're new
Mhm.
friends.
Mhm.
And so that's been very, very successful. And our Park and Rec has done a wonderful job working with all the different cities.
Again, hop into the city's website, newhopemn.gov, to find out more about the classes that are being offered right now and also more about the musical. And back to the musical, let's talk about a grant that came through that's going to help that musical for years to come.
Yeah, very exciting. The staff at New Hope received information that they will be receiving a $10,108 grant from the Hennepin County Youth Activities, Arts and Music Grants
Mhm.
to purchase theater supplies for the cooperative production of the off-Broadway musical theater events that they hold. And that helps keep our costs down. It helps keep the OBMT costs down, and it makes us be able to continue to offer this every single year.
Fantastic news there. A couple other notes in Park and Rec, a couple of the big facilities in town that Park and Rec things happen at, the golf course and the ice arena. And you just wanted to note that you draw in some outside users of those facilities that are highly sought after. They want to be here in New Hope.
Yeah. The Minnesota Junior PGA Tour Tournament was held last week at our golf course. And again, it's our golf course. We just know it as that. And there's a lot of people that come from a ways away to come to our course. There's a lot of tournaments that come in and use our course, and it speaks really highly of the course and the staff and the beauty of it. It's wonderful. Our ice arena hosts national tournaments uh, every single year. I've been told there is not an NHL scout that does not come to our facility, our ice arena, at least once a year to scout out players. And that's because we have these big name tournaments and we really draw people in. Now, when people are here, they have to eat.
Right.
So, in between games, maybe they're running to Pub 42, maybe they're running to Frankie's, maybe they're running to Applebee's, shopping, maybe they're going to Hy-Vee. It brings in dollars for the city and for our businesses. It's great for the community. It's great for businesses.
Let's move ahead on our final couple minutes here to communications, an important department that maybe, again, people don't hear a lot about within the city, but you wanted to mention a few things that are happening in this area to keep residents in touch.
Yeah. We have a communications director, Beth Kramer, who does a remarkable job. And Beth in the city understands that people look to different avenues for their information, whether it's news or happenings or whatever. And New Hope has a very interactive and thorough website that we keep updated daily. We have social media that Beth oversees and works with all the different directors and the staff to make sure that people are getting all of their information. And then we have a great relationship with CCX Media. I mean, we do an incredible amount with them, and it helps build community. It helps people know what's going on. It helps people feel like they belong to something, and that's New Hope.
Now, something else in the communication world that has just come out and they want your feedback is the City Services Survey. Remind us what that is and how residents can find it and maybe give you some feedback.
Absolutely. The City Services Survey went out in the July water bills. It's also available on the city website. And it gives people the opportunity to rate how we're doing, what they want to see more of, what they'd like to see less of. And this isn't just a survey. It really helps me as a council member provide direction for where the city goes. And we read through these surveys, we receive executive reports on the surveys. I really encourage people to fill these out because it's the information is really truly looked at. And we want to know what people want and how we can better serve them.
And we want to give John and the rest of the council more reading material. And so as those surveys come in, John and the group reads those. And I understand already over 200 surveys back in. So hopefully all residents can take part in that and give some feedback to the city.
Please.
One final note to pass along. We want to make sure people have on their calendar August 6th. Why is that date so important to the city and to you, I know, in your profession as well?
Yeah, it's Night to Unite. And it's the same thing, same night as National Night Out. It's just a different platform. And we have found that when people know their neighbors, it helps lower crime. People who forge relationships, friendships, or at least real familiarity with their neighbors, they're more likely to go out of their way to help them. They're more likely to check on them. It's super important. We will be out, council and police and fire, public works will all be out and going around to the parties that people will be hosting, answering questions, getting to meet people. I remember my first, it was National Night Out then, in 2008, when I went out to my first parties as a councilman. And to be able to talk to people in their setting where they're comfortable was a real eye-opener for me. It helped me really understand really what people were thinking. And it's great. We all enjoy doing it. We get to as many parties as we can, and really we encourage people to engage on that night, to have the parties, to have the gathering. New Hope is always, in the top 3 for sure for cities their size for participation, and that speaks a lot for the city and the police department. Officer Brad Callio, who oversees all of this. It's a great event, and we really encourage people. And as a police officer, I want people to know their neighbors. You don't have to be the best of friends if you don't want to be, but at least knowing people is super important.
Here's that website once again, newhopemn.gov, and look for Officer Callio there, or the police department, to find more about National Night Out and certainly all the other things we've talked about today. Stick with us. We're going to have a calendar of some of the events that are coming up in the community in just a second. Councilmember Elder, thanks so much again for your time. Thanks for pinch hitting for the mayor, and hope to talk to you again soon.
I appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Learn more about The Connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.